So, you probably think you know the story of Frankenstein, right? Well, let me tell you, it's so much more than just a classic monster story. It's this timeless, powerful warning about ambition, about creation, and about the absolutely devastating cost of not taking responsibility. We're going to crack open the very beginning of this masterpiece and see how Mary Shelley, right from page one, sets the stage for a tragedy of epic proportions.
Okay, so here's the first major curveball the book throws at you. The story doesn't start with Victor Frankenstein cackling in his lab. No, it starts at the very end of his story, with these chilling words. This is a warning. Spoken by a totally broken man found clinging to life on the ice in the middle of the Arctic. The entire story we're about to hear, it's his cautionary tale, his desperate don't make the same mistakes I did speech.
Right, so if Victor isn't our narrator, then who is? Well, our eyes and ears into this world are actually the letters of a guy named Robert Walton. He's this really ambitious English explorer who's trying to get to the North Pole, and he's writing all these letters to his sister back home. He's the one who stumbles upon the nearly dead Victor, so he's our entry point into this whole world of obsession. And this guy, Walton, is just completely consumed by his quest for glory. He couldn't care less about the dangers. In his mind, the North Pole isn't a frozen wasteland, it's a region of beauty and delight. He's poured years of his life into this, suffered like crazy, and he's ready to sacrifice absolutely everything for this one big discovery. You see what Shelley's doing here? She's giving us a preview, a perfect template for the exact same kind of ambition that's about to destroy Victor Frankenstein.
And there it is. Shelley lays the novel's central theme out for us on a silver platter, right at the start. Walton, the guy hearing the story, is basically a mirror image of Victor, the guy telling it. They're both driven by this blinding ambition that cuts them off from other people. Shelley is telling us, loud and clear, this isn't just about one guy. It's a universal warning about what happens when ambition goes completely unchecked.
Now, to really feel the gut punch of Victor's tragedy, you have to understand just how much he had to lose. So his story starts not with darkness and storms, but with a childhood that was, almost unbelievably perfect. Shelley sets the stakes incredibly high so that when he falls, the crash is just that much more devastating. I mean, this guy had it all. He was born into a great family in Geneva, had these wonderful, loving parents who doted on him. He had Elizabeth, this beautiful girl who was basically his sister and companion, and his best friend, Henry Clerval. He was completely surrounded by love and security he wanted for nothing. And this relationship with Elizabeth is so, so important. When his mother brings her home, she calls her a pretty present for Victor. And he takes that literally. This feeling of ownership, this idea that she is mine, it tells you a lot about his character. Elizabeth really represents this perfect, happy life and the human connection that he is eventually going to sacrifice for his dark obsession. So, the million-dollar question, how does a kid from a life that good end up a broken man in the Arctic? Well, the change really kicks in when he goes off to university at Ingolstadt. This is where his natural curiosity, which was a good thing, starts to get twisted into something secret, isolated, and ultimately really destructive. See, even when he was a boy, Victor wasn't into normal stuff like politics. He wanted to figure out the secrets of heaven and earth. He got completely hooked on these ancient, totally discredited alchemists, guys who weren't just trying to understand the world, but trying to control it. They were looking for the elixir of life, trying to conquer death itself. Big red flag, right? Then at university, a professor, M. Waldman, gives this lecture that just sets Victor's mind on fire, talking about the insane power of modern science. And that's it. Victor has found his purpose. He dives headfirst into his studies, focusing on anatomy, on life and death, until one day, it happens. He has this breakthrough, this sudden light. He's figured it out. He's discovered the secret to creating life. For the next 2 years, Victor just disappears. He goes completely off the grid. He stops writing to his family, avoids everyone. He gets sick and pale, haunting graveyards and morgues for his materials, totally lost in what he calls his secret toil. This isn't some noble pursuit of science anymore. It's a frantic, ghoulish obsession. And all of this builds to one of the most famous scenes in all of literature. After 2 years of this feverish, non-stop work, the moment has finally arrived. But the reality of what he's about to accomplish is going to be nothing like the glorious dream he had in his head. I mean, just picture the scene. It's 1 a.m. on a rainy November night. His candle is about to burn out, and lying on the table in front of him is the 8-foot-tall creature he stitched together, just waiting for that spark of life.
He says his anxiety was so bad it almost amounted to agony. And then its eye opens. It takes a breath. Victor had picked all the features to be beautiful. Shiny black hair, pearly white teeth. But once it's alive, the whole thing is a catastrophe. The watery eyes, the tight yellow skin stretched over the muscles. It's a monster. The reality is absolutely grotesque. And this is the absolute key. Victor's reaction isn't awe, it's not scientific wonder, it's immediate, total disgust. He had this dream of creating a new, beautiful species that would worship him. Instead, he's just horrified. He can't even stand to look at it. So he runs. He runs out of the room and completely abandons his creation the second it comes to life. So Victor's first move as a creator is to abandon his creation. His second is to pretend it never happened. And this one single selfish choice immediately unleashes a tidal wave of tragedy that is going to crash over everyone he has ever loved. The consequences aren't some far-off problem. They are immediate and they are devastating. Months later, after he's sort of recovered from the nervous breakdown he had, Victor gets a letter from his father, and the news is just the worst thing imaginable. His beloved little brother, William, has been strangled to death in the woods, and a valuable little portrait of their mother that William was wearing is gone. So Victor rushes home, and on the way, he gets caught in this huge thunderstorm right near where William was killed. And then, in a flash of lightning, he sees it, this gigantic, horrifying figure climbing up a mountainside. In that single instant, he knows. He knows, without a doubt, that this filthy demon he created is the one who murdered his brother. But the horror doesn't stop there. Oh, no. When Victor gets home, he finds out someone's already been arrested for the murder. Justine Moritz, the family's kind and gentle servant. And why? Because the missing portrait was found in her pocket. Victor knows the truth, that his creation must have planted it on her, but he says nothing. He's paralyzed, terrified that if he tells his story, everyone will think he's a madman.
And so Justine, who is completely innocent, is tried, convicted, and executed. Let's just do the math here. Victor's one act of creation, followed by his one act of cowardice, has now directly caused the violent deaths of two people he supposedly cared for, his little brother and a beloved member of his family. The bill for his great scientific accomplishment is already stacking up.
And this brings us to the question that just echoes through the rest of the book and, frankly, right into our world today. Victor's greatest crime wasn't playing God. It was running away from the consequences. He created a life and then refused to guide it, to nurture it, or to be accountable for it. And it really makes us ask, right? What do we owe the things we create? And what's the real price of just looking the other way?